Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Ask Blake. Today's episode is going to be a big one, so you're going to want to stick around. Let's get right to it. Today is going to be a massive one, so it's going to take a little bit to get into the details. But the question is, how do I make money from social media? This is a tough one because there are literally thousands of ways that you can make money from social media. There isn't just a clear-cut way that you can make money without fail on social media. It's gonna take effort, it's gonna take time, and there are so many ways to do it. So it's really hard to know where to start with this one, but I'm gonna give it my best shot. I'm gonna go over 4 different tactics for making money from social media, and I know there are so many more than that, but I believe these are the 4 most effective that I've used and that I think you can capitalize on right now. But a quick disclaimer, before we get into making money on social media, I'm assuming that you already have a following. And the reason I'm assuming that is because the absolute worst way to run a social media account is just to do it for money. If you're just doing it for money, you are probably not gonna win right away or maybe ever, because money should not be the driving factor behind the content that you're creating. Now, what do I mean by that? Basically, if money is your end goal, that's more of a selfish goal than it is a genuine and helpful goal. You can have both. You can make money and you can provide value, and that's the route that I really think you should take, but I think money should be kind of at the tail end of that process. So if you're looking to monetize your social media, if you just want to know how it's done, how people actually make a living off this, I'm going to explain a few ways that you can do this really effectively. But first and foremost, build your accounts genuinely. Engage with other people's content, make great content yourself. Don't be selfish. Don't try to just run ads and expect people to love what you're doing and throw money at you. That's not how this works. That is a very temporary and selfish way to do social media, and it's never going to work out long term for you. So, I highly recommend, if you take Gary Vaynerchuk's advice, people like that say to build slowly. Just scale up slowly. That's the route that you should take. It's the route that I'm taking. It's the safest way, but it's also the most fun. So really, don't worry about the money as much as you should worry about helping your audience. So assuming that you actually have a great audience and that you built it the right way, now you're looking to monetize. I'm gonna give you 4 great ways to do this, starting with number 1. The absolute best thing that you can do is to drive traffic to your website from your social media. Now, if you don't have a website or you don't have a product that you're selling, you really need to get on that because you're missing a huge opportunity. Social media, that part is all about the content, but then everything off of social media that you're inviting people to take action in, that should be monetary based. You should have a store with products that you're selling, or a website for services or consulting or whatever you're doing. Now, for example, some of you might be saying, well, Blake, I run a page about minimalism. How am I supposed to take my Instagram page about minimalism and sell a product? Now, that's a really good question because with minimalism, you're really trying to take down the number of things that you own, so it's kind of hard to know what to sell. But I'll give you an example, and anybody can do this for any niche, any industry. If you run a minimalism account, for example, you could just make handmade frames with quotes in them, with minimalist quotes. Or you could develop with a manufacturer or just some other third-party people that already make it. You could design a minimalist black shirt that has nothing on it except maybe a tiny little logo, or even nothing at all. And you could sell that as your product. That's just an example. It's very difficult to know what your product should be, and that's why you have to really get outside of the box for this one. With the other ones, it's a lot more about processes of how, step A, do this, step B, do that. With this one, it's thinking outside of the box. This is the creative one, but this is the one that provides the most value because you can automate it. When you have your product that you're going to sell, or you have your website that you're drawing people to from social media and you link out to, you're going to get traffic there, and you have an opportunity to automate that to make money while you're sleeping, which is not the case for these other methods necessarily. Now it's time to get on to step number 2. So the second thing that you can be doing after you've gained a big following, after you've connected with your audience, is to start getting the attention of brands and ask if you can advertise with them as an influencer. Now this is a very common tip that a lot of people do. But I want to give you a really direct way, a process where you can actually do this for yourself. Not just telling you to do it, but actually showing you how to do it. In my opinion, the most effective platform to reach out to brands is Twitter. Twitter is where basically every brand has an account, and it's all about news. It's all about real people. There aren't as many fake people on Twitter, for example, as there are on Instagram, which may shock a lot of you, but it's true. On Twitter, you can send DMs just like you can anywhere else, and you can send direct tweets. And the reason why this is so effective, A, because I already mentioned that every brand has a Twitter. It's been around longer than almost any other platform. And B, it's very, very easy to get responses back. Brands are so much more likely to connect with you on Twitter and actually respond to your request than they are on Instagram or Facebook, because the friction of responding to comments is so much lower on Twitter. It's almost expected of celebrities and brands. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to think of the brands that you already support wholeheartedly, and you're going to identify them and write them down. Once you have your list of brands that you would support and feel completely comfortable making advertisements for or influencing for, you're going to actually reach out to them with some kind of message that sounds a lot like this. Dear brand, my name is Blake, I'm a content creator, and I absolutely love your brand. I have been using your product since 2012. I would love to help you reach some of my audience by doing a little bit of influencing in any way that might interest you. Let me know if that could work out for you, and we can discuss a little bit further. Overall, I just want to say I really love the product, and I hope to get back from you a little message soon. Thanks, Blake. Something like that. Now, you can do this on Twitter all day and reach out to brands. And yeah, probably only 1 out of 50 are gonna even respond to you, but you have a high likelihood, if you have a decent following, of getting a response back from at least one, and that's all you need. You can make very lucrative deals off of this. Now it's time for item number 3. Number 3 is a lot more about credibility. And what I mean by that is, you can use your social media not necessarily to actually physically generate money, but to generate clients. It can be a lead magnet machine for you if you do it right. Now, this works especially well on platforms like LinkedIn and Instagram, but it can work for pretty much any other platform. When you're trying to attract clients, they're going to kind of scope you out and do a little bit of scouting on you and find out if you're really worth it. And if you're claiming to be, for example, a social media expert, they're going to look at your social media and see what you're up to, and if you actually have a following, if you have engagement, if you're providing value in that sphere, or if you're a total phony. If you have the credibility already established, you are so much more likely to land clients. And you can actually use social media, especially LinkedIn, to message potential clients and build relationships with them over time that can transition into business relationships. And finally, the 4th thing that I think you can really make some money off of, it's going to be a little bit outside of the box, but you definitely can make money off of it, and here's what it is. It acts as a second resume. When you have your social media up and running and it is clicking on all cylinders and you have momentum going in whatever content you're creating, that's basically better than any resume you could ever write out, because you are showing people what you're all about instead of talking about it. Walking is better than talking. We've always heard action is louder than words. It's so much better. It's more effective. This is your second resume. So if you're looking for a new job, if you're looking to get into something more lucrative, but you don't necessarily want to be a full-time content creator, this is your second resume that can help you stand out above the crowd, because the chances are the other applicants for these high-end jobs aren't doing the same thing as you are. They're not creating all this content, and it provides so much value and makes you seem way more qualified. I could go on and on about thousands of more tactics of how you can make social media a money-making machine, but I think that we'll stick with those 4 right now.